I'm just seeing my glasses are dirty. I haven't worn them in a couple days. Hello, hello. If you're just hopping on, tell me who you are, where you're from. Hello, hello. If you're just hopping on, tell me who you are, where you're from. Hello, hello. I got a sore. You know how you get the sores from blowing your nose? I didn't even barely, I don't know, but it hurts. Oh. If you're just hopping on, tell me who you are, where you're from. Hello, hello. Hello, hello. If you're not familiar, my name is Renee. Hello. If you're just hopping on, tell me who you are, where you're from. Tonight we're going to talk about anger and loss and grief. But we're going to talk mostly about the anger part of it. Because guess what? I'm better than the wind hair? Yeah, just a little bit, huh? I'm Bill from North Carolina. Welcome. Let me back up. I know I missed a couple. Layla, thank you for the likes. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. If you guys can just tap that screen, it really does help. So I'm just going to wait a minute. I was late, guys. Sorry. North Carolina. Oh, Did you say California? Oh, I'm so sorry. Thank you for the heart me. Can't read tonight, Bill. Sorry about that. North California. What part? Where? Tell me where north. I've been to Northern California, but I don't know if you live up that far. Sorry about that. Renee's community just teared up. I don't know what that means, but hey. I'm so sorry. Can't read tonight. I better get better at that, huh? Hi. Who's saying hi? Anthony? Where are you from, Anthony? Hello, hello. If you're just hopping on, tell me who you are, where you're from. Tonight we're going to talk about anger and loss and grief. But we're going to talk about the anger part of it. Because if y'all know, I'm the resident guinea pig here. Ashland, Kentucky. Candy from California. Welcome. Thank you for the likes, Layla. Yeah, if you guys can just tap that screen, it really does help. So I don't have a lot prepared, but I know a lot about this topic. So that's why I'm here. Nuke, hi. Winchester, Kentucky, welcome. Glad to have you here. All right. So just real quick, if you're new to my community, tell me who you are, where you're from. My name is Renee. I'm in Iowa at the moment, but I consider myself from South Dakota. If you're not familiar with my page, my channel, I don't know what it's called. I started in March of 2024. The reason why I started my page is because in September, Kimberly from Michigan, welcome. Because in September of 2023, for TikTok purposes, my husband unalived himself. That's when I discovered that I had abilities. I met an astronaut last week, want to hear her words of wisdom. Not really, because you're going to find out a lot of that's not what you think it is. But I'm going to leave it at that because that's not what my page is about. But I'm happy for you. But sure, share. Why not? Yeah. Anyhow, Sherbert, thank you for the repost. Thank you. Aw, thank you for the roses and the heart me. I appreciate that. So if you're just hopping on, tell me who you are, where you're from. So like I said, so after my husband passed in 2023, I discovered that I had abilities and in order to talk to my spirit guides, and they slowly led me to my purpose, which is to help other people with loss, uplift others. Mary from Pennsylvania, Brooke from Tennessee, welcome. Glad to have you here. My name is Renee. Welcome. I only have 2 rules on my page. We talk absolutely no politics. It's just not at all what my page is about. It's not against one side or the other. The astronaut said those who solve ordinary problems can only provide ordinary advice. Yeah, well, that coming from a person who lies. But anyway, we won't go there. My page, my opinion, and we agree to disagree here. So if you can't, I just ask you to hop off and keep scrolling. Sorry, not sorry. Those who solve extraordinary guidance can provide extraordinary guidance. Well, so who's the judge if it's ordinary or extraordinary? Who's the judge of that? Just like who's the judge of what's normal and what's not normal? Just a question. So yeah, like I said, I only have 2 rules here. We talk absolutely no politics. It's not against one side or the other. Just not at all what my page is about. The dictionary. Okay, you totally missed my point there. But thank you. I pretty much knew a dictionary would give me the definition. That's the definition. But who decides? Who decides what somebody does is extraordinary or ordinary? That's the question. I know a dictionary will give me the explanation. There's a difference. And then the other one is I just ask that we be kind. If you can't be kind, hop off and keep scrolling. Thank you, Brooke. I appreciate that. So tonight we're going to talk about, and if you've had a loss, feel free to jump in anytime. My page is your page. This is why I created this community. So people would know that they weren't alone. And they knew that they had support. And so if you've had a loss, don't be shy here ever. We're not shy here. So if you had a loss, feel free to share. Sorry, my dog just hit my tripod. But tonight we're going to talk about anger. And I've been very vocal on my page about how the anger part of my loss was extraordinary as others couldn't solve the same problem. I think you're totally missing my point, but that's okay. We're going to keep going. I lost my husband the same way, but in 2019. Sorry you went through that. Well, thank you for sharing that. I appreciate that. Even with support, I feel still alone. Okay, well, don't feel alone because this is what my community is for. Welcome. And I apologize. I don't know why my tripod keeps shaking tonight. Hey, Jen. Anyway, so tonight we're going to talk about anger. If you're new to my page, you'll understand that my guides usually give me the topic for the night, and I'm the resident guinea pig here. This is why I created my page, not only for people to not feel alone, and to feel like they have a place to come. But yes, I talk to my spirit guides. So if you have a problem, William, we agree to disagree here. Hop off and keep scrolling. It's that simple. We all have a spirit team. So it is what it is. Anyway, so I'm the resident guinea pig here. We talk about glad to see you again. Have I seen you before? What's your name? I missed it. You got the Holy Spirit? Well, we all have a spirit team. You all have angels and guides and ancestors, and that is your team. So you have more than the Holy Spirit. But I'm not going to go, I digress. I'm here to help people, guys. I'm not here to get into semantics with you tonight. Like I said, my page, my opinion. You don't have to stick around if you disagree. We agree to disagree here. If you can't do that, just hop off and keep scrolling. It's that simple, right? I'm not here to change anybody's mind. I'm just here to tell you my experience and to help people. So if you think me trying to help people because I have a spirit team is a bad thing, then just see yourself to the door. Anyway, Michael from West Virginia, you followed me for a month. Well, welcome, Michael, and I apologize that I did not remember you. I totally apologize. And it looks like you are Army, so thank you for your service. I do appreciate that. And I think I might have sent you an invitation by accident. Just ignore, because I hit buttons and I don't mean to. So we're going to talk about anger. Like I said, I'm the resident guinea pig here. I made it well known the last couple of years that anger was the hardest one for me to get over when my husband passed. I have forgiven my husband for what he did, as far as I know that he was in a situation that was complicated. We'll just put it that way for a lack of better terms. Thank you for the follow. I appreciate that. Do you have a name? And thank you for all the likes, guys. They really do help. But at the same time, if you're not familiar with my story, my whole world of 32 years imploded, right? Gone by his one decision. I had no say in anything. Same here. Anger was the hardest to touch upon when my husband passed. Okay. Well, that's what we're going to talk about tonight. So I want you to feel free to talk about it. Let's discuss it. I want to have a discussion about this. So if you've had a loss, and it doesn't necessarily have to mean somebody passed. I have to be careful what I say, guys, or TikTok will kick me off. A loss can be divorce, relationship, somebody passing. But let's talk about that. Let's talk about the anger, whether it be grief or loss of something like that, right? Feel free and don't be shy here. I can't guarantee I will see all your comments because TikTok does like to hide them. So I apologize if they do. And the reason why I'm talking about this tonight is because I've had some things going on in my life, probably, for the last year, right? And there's times in my life where things aren't easy. And I've had some struggles. And that anger comes back to the surface. And like I said, I've forgiven him. I know that, it is what it is in that case. But at the same time, I lost my whole life. And I was angry that I lost the life that I thought that I was going to have. Right? And I've told people before, I've said, when you lose a life that you think you're going to have, you have to mourn that. And unfortunately, I'm still going through that phase of mourning that life that I thought I was going to have. And a lot of new feelings, or should I say old feelings, have come up again because I started watching some of our old YouTube channels that we used to watch. Daryl and I's goal, if you're not familiar, is we wanted to become full-time RVers. And so I started watching our full-time RVers again on YouTube. I'm finally at that point where I can watch them. When my husband passed, I called it a soul divorce. Oh, that's a neat term. I never thought of that. I'm going to write that down. I'm stealing that from you. That's cool. I never thought of that. Yeah, in a way. Although the only thing is their soul is still they're still with us in a way. Laura, is it Laura? Thank you for the follow. I appreciate that. Make sure I didn't miss anybody else here. So yeah, so if you've had a loss of any kind, a relationship, somebody's passed, and you have some anger, I want to hear about it. I want to have a discussion about this tonight. But like I said, I've had to mourn this life that I thought I was going to have. And now that I'm back to watching these shows, I want my life back, right? I'm going to be honest, and I've said, from the very beginning, you will get the authentic me, right? Some nights you get no makeup, dirty hair, don't care, whatever it is, but you're going to get the true me. And tonight, the true me is I'm angry because I want my life back. Certain aspects of it, no, I don't want to go back to that, right? I've grown. I'm a better person. Those aspects I don't want back. But some of those dreams and goals that I had, I want them back, right? And that's a legitimate thing to feel. So I want you to know that if you have those feelings, it's okay to feel that, right? And that's the struggle, is because, you know, everybody tells you to just to get over it and move forward, right? Well, easier said than done, right? If you've never been put in that position, that's an easy statement for somebody look from the outside looking in, right? But for somebody who's in that position, it isn't always as easy as just get over it. Grief changes the whole landscape. It never leaves. We just make room for it. Yes, absolutely. I agree. Yeah, it changes things. I don't want to say though, I don't want to say that we never get over it. It never leaves. I don't know if I agree with that statement. I think it does. I think grief does leave at a certain point. But how do I want to say this? Because like I said, we do make room for it, but at the same time, I don't think we continue to grieve forever. And if you do, I don't know. And I don't want to say there's a right and wrong either. I apologize, guys. I'm struggling to try to get across what's in my head to my mouth tonight. Because I think you can heal from grief. I think you can heal from it and move forward. Now, you know, when we step back into, let's say, a memory, right? We might have a moment of that time that's passed. But if think about it this way, this just hit me. Maybe I can finally explain myself and not get all tongue-tied. So let's say we don't have a loss in our life at all, right? Let's talk about maybe raising our children or our childhood, okay? And we have fond memories of our childhood or raising our kids. And then we have non so fond memories of raising our kids or our childhood, right? Let's take loss out of the equation for a second. We can look back at our childhood, right? And remember those fond moments fondly, right? And be happy and be like, you know, oh, that was so great when we did that as a kid or whatever, right? And we can also look back at the memories that were not so fond of our childhood or raising our children, right? And I think it's just part of life, honestly. That's just part of life. Anytime you're looking back, you know, there's always going to be some kind of negative as far as you wanted to do things differently or you wish this hadn't happened. Am I making sense? Right? And so you kind of have to think of grief or loss as the same thing, right? No different than you would grieve the moments of your childhood that you miss or don't miss, right? So you can move forward and heal from that just like you can your childhood, but it doesn't mean that you can't look back on it and have moments of, you know, those memories and be upset. I don't think that that's just making space for it. And that's why I disagree with that statement a little bit. Just because, like I said, I think if we say if we're making space, yes, it does change the landscape. It does, right? Because in my case, our whole life changes. But I think if we say that we continue to leave space for that grief, then there's parts of that grief you're never healing. Does that make sense? I don't know if I'm getting it correctly. We can mourn what once was and the opportunities we messed up. That's how we evolve. Exactly. And I agree with that 100%. I think it's just a slippery slope though if we say, you know, we make space for that grief. Yes, right now as we're healing, or we should be healing, not everybody wants to heal, whether that's loss of, you know, whatever it is, right? Maybe you have loss of being a child. You know, there's different forms of loss. But I think you have to be, like I said, I think it's a slippery slope between saving space for that. Does that make sense? Because I think when you say you save space for it, for that grief, it's like that forever void that you're never going to get over. And get over is not the right word either. I know I'm doing a sucky job trying to say what I'm trying to say tonight. Jen, do you understand where I'm going with this? Am I just completely, I don't know. But the point is that it's okay to still have those feelings, right? Your feelings are legitimate. Okay, good. Because I'm like, I know what I want to say in my head, but I cannot seem to get it out my mouth tonight for anything. So, like I've said before, you know, there's times where when we've had a loss and we feel something and other people are like, well, why do you feel that way? It doesn't matter what other people think, right? And anger is one of those. We can still feel anger, have that angry moment, and move forward. Yeah, not letting it consume your life. Exactly. And that's where I say I think it's a slippery slope of because I've heard people say, you know, you just learn how to deal with it. And I don't like that either, because if you're just dealing with it, to me that's like, I feel like, and this is just my opinion, you're shoving that under the rug, so to speak, right? You're dealing with it. Have you dealt with it, or are you dealing with it by ignoring it, maybe, right? Or just tolerating it, or putting up with the grief and not actually healing through that. Does that make sense? But anyway, so we're supposed to talk about this tonight because, like I said, I'm the guinea pig here. And now that I'm watching these shows, you know, I'm finding a little bit that I'm still have that anger, not towards him. I've forgiven him. Like I said, I know the situation. But I'm angry that I lost my life, you know. We learn to compartmentalize the grief and heal while being past the grief. I know what you're saying, but I feel like that's still like saving space for that grief, right? If you're compartmentalizing it over here, how do I want to say this? Okay, here's a great example. In your childhood, if something traumatic happened to you, right? And your brain has compartmentalized it over here, so that way you didn't think about it again. You knew it happened, but it was like moved over, right? It's kind of pretending that it didn't happen. Still so new to me. I go through do I want to keep living angry sometimes about the part. Yes. And that's exactly, Damon. I mean, you're so fresh, so new to it. You have every right to, and you're going to go through those different stages, right? It's going to change. For me, I'm just at that point where it's like I've healed it and I've made peace with it, but I'm still angry that I don't get to live that life that I wanted to, right? I guess I'm still mourning that part of my life. Sorry guys, just catching up on the chat. CPTSD. Elaborate for me. Anybody know what that means? I'm not good at those things. Damon, you're good at those. What does that mean? Anyway. So, does anybody have anything else they want to share? And for sure, Damon, you're going to go through those different stages, right? One day you're going to be angry, the next day you're going to be sad. And, you know, and there again, you have to learn how to work through that anger and mourn the life you thought you were going to have with her. Because like you and I have talked, right? We thought we were going to have the rest of our life with our partners. And so part of the grieving and the healing in that is you're about to start flipping tables. You want to elaborate on that? Is grieving that life that we thought we were going to have. Complex post-traumatic stress disorder. I won't comment on that. I don't know. I don't want to say I don't believe in labels, but sometimes I think it's too easy to just say, I have complex post-traumatic stress disorder, and that allows you to stay in that and not have to heal it. That's my opinion. My page, my opinion. It's too easy to just slap a label on yourself and say, well, I have this, so, and it's kind of a way to give you an excuse. Thank you for sharing, Dorothy. I know you were just sharing. But like I said, I believe in labels like I believe in living in the box. And if you're new to my channel, I tell people all the time, get rid of the box. Stop living in the box the world tells you to live in, right? We weren't meant to live in a box. And so we're not meant to live with labels, right? Because one, if you label yourself that, then you're implying, one, that you're broken and you need, and you know what I mean? You have this disorder, right? Well, I have this disorder, so now that's my excuse. I don't have to heal because I have this disorder. I don't know. I don't like labels. I don't like boxes. My page, my opinion. You don't have to agree. Like I said, we agree to disagree here. If you can't, just hop off. But thank you for sharing that so I knew what it was, Dorothy. I do appreciate that. If you're just hopping on, tell me who you are, where you're from. Yes, I'm very opinionated at times. And when it comes to living in the box and you know, because then you're just telling somebody they're broken. Because that's what they see, right? Well, I have this disorder, which means you're broken. You're not broken. You're not broken. Do you have some things that maybe you need to deal with or to heal? Yes, but you're not broken. You're never broken. You just moved to Portland, Oregon. Welcome. I miss Oregon. My husband and I loved Oregon. Best of both worlds. You get the ocean and the mountains. Same with Washington State. I love it there. All right. Does anybody else have a loss or anything they want to share? I'm going to quit rambling on trying to get my point across because apparently I can't get anything from my head to my mouth tonight. Anybody? Hello, hello. How was everybody's day? Anybody else have anything else they want to talk about? And like I said, loss doesn't have to be somebody passing. It could be loss of a relationship, you know, loss of a job. Your husband passed in 2022. So tell me, where would you say you are? So you're, I don't know what part of 2022. So you're about almost 4 years into this loss. Where would you say you are on your loss journey? As far as, have you dealt with it? Not dealt with it? Still dealing with it? June 4th. So almost 4 years here next month. Couple weeks. If you don't mind sharing. Still dealing with it. Okay. Do you want to elaborate a little more on that for me? But better. Okay. Are you dealing with it as far as, like, do you deal with the emotions of it, or do you just keep yourself busy so you don't deal with it? Is that how you deal with it? Or explain to me when you say I'm dealing with it, what does that mean? Date of death is hard. Yep. Okay. And here's the thing, and I'm a psychic medium, and I know not everybody believes in that. There again, my page, my opinion. And my journey. We all have our journeys. And I always say that at the beginning, and I didn't. You know, I'm on my journey of life where I am, and you're on your journey of life where you are. But here's the thing is, they don't want us to be sad. You're not mourning all the time. I talk to him daily. Ugh, sorry, my dog keeps hitting my tripod. That's good. Okay. Because, you know, they don't want us to be sad, right? So when the day that they passed or their birthday or special holidays, they want to be celebrated. They don't want you to be sad on those days. Hey, Douglas, how are you? Right? Sorry, I'm just going back. Sometimes I'm angry he passed. Okay, well, that's what we're talking about tonight. Oh, I'm glad to hear you're okay. So tell me, when you say you're angry, on your journey, what does that anger look like? You're angry that he left? Angry you lost your life? Like, elaborate for me a little bit, if you don't mind sharing. Thank you for the likes. I appreciate that. How's the dog, Douglas? Doing any better? Angry he left, and sometimes I feel alone. Okay, so alone is lots. Okay, good. That's good. Feeling alone is normal. I'm going to ask you a question, Dorothy, and it's going to sound like a strange question. Do you love yourself? Of course I remember. I remember things that are important to remember. I try. Yes, you love yourself. Okay. So you love yourself, so you enjoy your own company then at this point, after 4 years, right? Would that be a true statement? You do like your, okay. There you go. Okay. So see, now you're a great example. I love this. You're a wonderful example of when we go from a relationship, in my case anyway, I was with my husband for 32 years. So I thought I couldn't be alone, right? I thought I needed somebody else to be happy because I'd never been alone. And so that was one of my lessons that I had to learn, not only how to learn to love myself and figure out who I was, but learning that it was okay to be alone, right? I may want to be with somebody, but I don't need to be with somebody, right? But yes, it can still get lonely. So forgive me for asking that. I was just kind of curious where you were on your journey. That's all. All right. So you're angry that he left. And that's hard, right? I was angry that mine left too. And it wasn't until, like I said, he passed in September of 2023. It wasn't until like November of last year where I could say to him that I was no longer angry with him. Like I said, I'm not angry with him. I'm angry at the situation more than anything. I still haven't ventured out to do things alone. My goal is to go to a movie alone. Well, you should do it. No time like the present. Tomorrow isn't promised. My friend Jen goes to movies alone all the time. I have yet to go to a movie alone, but I don't go to movies hardly ever anyway. But you should do it. Go for it. Let me know how it works out. Because I would love to know. Are you following me, Dorothy? Because I would love to hear your feedback of how it went. I think we should all send up good vibes and he beat you to it. I knew you were going to say something. But yeah, do it. Go for it, girl. Like I said, tomorrow isn't promised. If today was your last day, which we all should live like it's our last day because we really don't know when it is, right? So why put off tomorrow? Do it today. Tomorrow may never come. So I'm going to go. I'm just haven't had the funds to go or a car. So now I have a car. Now I just have to have the funds so I can do it. But that's my goal. I'm going to go to a movie alone too because I have never done that. Because I can't go with my friend now because she's in South Dakota and I'm in Iowa. So 808, angel number. Does your husband leave you signs, Dorothy, or do you look? Do you look for signs from him? Didn't you say you talk to him all the time? Was it you that said that? I apologize if not. You look? You ever see any? My husband leaves me coins. You speak to him daily. Okay. And he loves that. They do, like I said, they don't like it when we're sad or upset. Feathers. Yep. My husband left me one time in the Yukon. I got in one morning to go to work, and there was this tiny little feather like this sitting on the passenger side seat. And my daughter was driving my car too, so I didn't want to jump to conclusions, but I was like, And so when I got off work that day, I was like, Sarah, you didn't leave a feather in the Yukon. She kind of looked at me like, Mom, why would I leave a feather in the Yukon? And I was like, I thought it was your dad. So yes, feathers is a common way for them to communicate with us. Coins, feathers, birds, numbers. Like I tell people, if you're waiting for a billboard, you're probably not going to get one. Now it's not impossible, but yeah, they usually just smaller ways. I had a dream about him at a park with a lake, and he was with our dog that passed. Aw. Okay, so a lot of times they'll come in dreams, especially if there's something. Especially if there's like unresolved, if they feel like there was something unresolved, right? So if they passed and there was things that weren't said, they'll come in a dream sometimes to give you peace, closure, right? That's cool. Yep. That means he's with your dog. Yep. That's funny. Do I tell you what I just heard, Dorothy? I told you I'm a psychic medium, right? I don't do reads only on Wednesdays generally, but if I get a message, I generally will not deliver it. Unsat, I found a park exactly like that. See? He probably led you to it. But when I said to you, him and the dog are together, I heard him say, we are. Actually, he said, we sure are. If you're just hopping on, tell us who you are, where you're from. You're so welcome. Did that dog like to play ball? Sorry, guys, my phone's always dinging. Did the dog that passed, Dorothy, did it like to play ball? What about unwanted spirits? Generally, they're just, those are spirits that have not crossed over because they have something unresolved, generally. It depends on the situation, what you're talking about. Because I could see him throwing like a tennis ball. Yeah, well, they're together now, and I see him throwing like a tennis ball. So, they're having a blast. They are, I can see it. All right, guys. That's pretty much all I have. I want to go over a couple things. So, I'm thinking about in June. Well, first let's start at the beginning. If you're not familiar, I do have a YouTube channel. It's under Scorpio Medium, and that's going to be changing up here in the fall, but I'll go into more of that come summertime. But so I'm here Sunday through Wednesday, or I try to be. Now my work schedule's a little crazy on different weeks, so if I'm not here, guys, forgive me. I'm only human, but I try to be here Sunday through Wednesday. Wednesday nights are our mini read nights. I'm trying to figure out how to do 2 nights a week mini reads. It takes a lot out of me, so it's really hard. So we're trying that. But what I want to say is I'm going to try to do at least 2 different Zooms, group readings. So I don't know if you've ever seen the medium Matt Frazier. He kind of does something similar. So basically, what it would consist of, it would be open to, I'm not exactly sure the number yet. I'm thinking anywhere from 10 to 20 people. And you would pay to, it's basically like a mini read. And so you would pay like 20, 25 bucks to get in on the Zoom. And I do like a group reading. And so if your loved ones come through, they come through. I can't control who comes through. But I'm thinking I want to keep the group small so that if, hopefully everybody would have somebody come through. Sometimes that doesn't happen just because your loved one, if they feel like, they're okay and you're okay, they don't have a reason to come through. But generally, so I'm thinking probably around 10 people. It's small enough, like I said, so that way, hopefully everybody would have somebody come through. We would do, like I said, it would be like a mini read night, but I would do it on a Zoom. So you'd have to sign up for that. So I'm trying to work out all the kinks for that. So I will, let you know more as we get closer into June here next week. If you're not familiar, I do full readings though. So if you would like a full one-on-one reading with me, I do offer 30-minute sessions and hour sessions. You would go to my email down below in my bio, and that's where you find my email. Send me an email to set that up. If you're not familiar, I also have a Venmo down there. If you enjoy my content and you would like to leave me a tip, always greatly appreciated but never expected. You can do that down there also. Let's see. I'm trying to think. Is there something else? Oh, and I also do a monthly newsletter. I've been lax this month, guys, because I started a new job, and so it's going to be a May-June newsletter because I didn't get my May newsletter out. But if you would like to have some healing information and some uplifting and all of that good stuff, and if you'd like to be put on my email newsletter, send me a DM with your email also, or you can send me an email with your email, whatever you prefer. I would love to send you an email newsletter every month. I think that's pretty much it. Jen, did I leave off anything? I didn't write a bunch of stuff down tonight. Normally I have it all wrote down, and I wasn't great about doing that. Douglas, I appreciate you so much and all those hearts you sent. Thank you so much. And I'm glad to hear that the dog is doing better. Thanks for the hearts, Jen. You think I got everything? Okay, awesome. So tomorrow night will be Mini Read Wednesday. We will be back. We weren't here last week. Jen was sick. She's my only moderator at the moment, guys. And so I have to have a mod. When I've got 80 people in the comments and 80 spirits to deal with on the other side, it makes it really hard to do alone. And so we were going to do it Friday, and then I had a long day at work, so we didn't get a mini read in last week. So we will be here as long as Jen can be here tomorrow night to do Mini Read Wednesdays. I hope you all join us tomorrow night, 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. That's what I forgot to say. 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, Sunday through Wednesday. I hope you all have a great night. Hopefully I didn't talk in circles too much and you got something out and I was able to spit out what I was trying to say tonight. If you like I said, if you like my lives, you can go over and check out Scorpio Medium on YouTube. I upload all my lives over there, so you can see all my past lives if you're new here. On that note, like I said, I hope you all have a great night. Remember to make tomorrow great because it's a choice. And on that note, we'll see you tomorrow night.